stand at the forefront of one of the most exciting and promising of all of the ages of human history. The globalization of markets, the exploding advances of technology have created an unprecedented opportunity for growth and prosperity, for individuals, for families, for organizations, for all society, if we approach them wisely. I frequently ask large audiences, how many agree that the vast majority of the workforce in your organization possess far more talent, capability, creativity, and intelligence than their present jobs require or even allow them to use? The overwhelming majority of people raise their hands, and this is with groups all over the world. About the same percentage acknowledge that they are under immense pressure to produce more for less. I mean, just think about it. On the one hand, people face a new and increasing expectation to produce more for less, yet feel that they are not even allowed to contribute their highest talents and intelligence. This is a staggering and fundamental leadership problem. To understand why, we need to understand the four economic ages of civilization. Imagine for a moment that you step back in time and you are a hunter and gatherer of food. Each day you go out and gather food for your family. That's all you've ever known. Then someone comes along and tries to persuade you to become what he calls a farmer. You see him scratch the earth, throw little seeds into the ground. You see him watering the soil, removing weeds, and you see nothing. But eventually, you see a great harvest. You notice his yield as a farmer is 50 times greater than yours as a hunter and gatherer. What would you do? Little by little, you would go through the intense learning process of becoming a farmer. You would need to learn new skills and use new tools. Ultimately, you would raise your children and grandchildren as farmers. And that's exactly what happened in our early history. In time, we experienced more than a 90% downsizing of hunters and gatherers. Then along comes the industrial age. People build factories and learn how to take raw materials through an assembly line with high levels of efficiency. They had to develop a whole new set of skills. The factory of the industrial age produced 50 times more than the family farm. And over time, over 90% of the farmers were downsized. Now we're moving into the information knowledge worker age. Do you believe that this age will outproduce the industrial age 50 times? I do. We're just barely beginning to see it. It will outproduce it 50 times, not twice, not 3 or 10 times, but 50 or more. You see, the primary drivers of economic prosperity in the industrial age were machines and capital. In other words, things. People were necessary but replaceable. The problem is, although we are living in the knowledge worker age, so many of our modern management practices come from the industrial age. It's reflected in many of our current recruiting, hiring, and firing practices, our performance appraisal systems, our compensation and reward systems, even in the way we communicate with people. Financial accounting, the main information guiding system, comes out of the industrial age and calls people an expense. And things like tools, equipment, computers, assets. Just think about the impact of that psychology on almost everything. With the industrial age approach, people are managed to a job description. They're fit into a slot. In the knowledge worker age, people are led toward their greatest unique contribution. The industrial age manager sees people as employees or subordinates. Motivation is external. Carrot and sticking. You know, if you produce, you get the carrot. If you don't produce, you get the stick. The great jackass theory of human motivation. In the knowledge worker age, people are treated as volunteers, as associates and partners. The industrial age mindset is one of control, controlling people. The knowledge worker mindset is one of release, a form of directed autonomy. Bottom line, We manage things, but things don't have the power to choose. But we lead people who do have the power to choose. Speaking of our day, the late, brilliant management thinker Peter Drucker said prophetically, when the history of our time is written, the most important event those historians will remember is not technology, not the internet, not e-commerce, but the unprecedented change in the human condition. For the first time, substantial and rapidly growing numbers of people have choices. For the first time, people have to manage themselves, and we are totally unprepared for it. Why are we unprepared? Because unleashing the potential of this age will require a fundamental break from the control paradigm. It will require leaders to embrace what I call the whole person paradigm. Human beings are four-dimensional. Our body, our mind, our heart, and our spirit. These four dimensions also represent the four basic needs and motivations of all people. For the body, to live, survival. For the heart, to love, to build strong relationships. For the mind, to learn, the need for growth and development. And for the spirit, to leave a legacy, the need for meaning and contribution, and for integrity. Consciously or subconsciously, people choose how much of themselves that they will give to their work, depending on how they are viewed and treated, and on their opportunities to use all four parts of their nature. The point is, neglect any one of the four parts of human nature, and you essentially turn a person into a thing. And what do you do with a thing? You have to control and manage them in order to motivate them. Again, carrot and stick. You may be able to buy someone's hand or back, but you can never buy someone's heart, mind, and spirit. These are volunteered only. In the final analysis, leadership is not about control. It's about unleashing the whole person toward compelling, inspiring, and worthwhile goals. As a leader, you have a choice. You can choose to perpetuate the practices of the industrial age, or to adopt the mindset, skill set, and tool set required to lead successfully in the knowledge worker age.